Hello and welcome to Simon Says This Is Significant. If you are new here, I have some extremely important information you are going to want to hear. And it is exactly why the Democratic Party has betrayed us. You will be, through the course of this video, I'm going to go over a few things. You will be convinced by the things that I have to show you because I'm going to be citing myself so you know for a fact that what I'm saying is true. Let's go ahead and start right into the very beginning here. We're going to be looking at, first of all, the federal scheduling for drugs. Now, keep in mind something, oh, wrong one. Keep in mind something extremely significant is that if the Democratic Party was hell-bent on correcting these things, they would have been corrected over the decades of time that these things have been realities. These things would have been stopped, mitigated, or corrected in at least some way that is significant. They have not been, and it's because of exactly a reason I'm going to give later, but it has to do with super PACs, the funding for political action committees, how people get elected, basically. It's all really corrupt. But here we're just looking at really these first few points here. So first of all, the scheduling of drugs, again, like marijuana, which has literally never killed anyone in all the history of time, in the worst schedule one, the worst scheduling that there is for drugs. This is meth. Meth is not even in schedule one. Heroin is. Thankfully, I suppose. I mean, I personally would say, hey, listen, let's give some empathy here for those who are addicted, because we understand now addiction is a different animal, and it's not going to be helped by just throwing someone in a cage like an animal and expecting them to get better through that. That's not going to help them, because as soon as they get out, they're going to be right back on the streets shooting up heroin again. You have to do something more substantive than that. But that's another point for another video. The point here with this one is really just to show you that, listen, let's look at what's in schedule one. Okay, we got heroin. Okay, understandable. Then we got LSD. Strange. Okay, but then we got marijuana. Okay, now that's really weird because that one is literally never here. I'll just do this really quickly. How many people have died from marijuana? Can marijuana kill you? Okay. No one's died, but you can do your own research on this one, and it's going to say no one. Reported 2 cases of sudden death that doctors linked to health complications, possibly worsened by marijuana use. Possibly worsened. Possibly. We got possibilities out here, right? You got 2 cases. How many people? Here, let's look at tobacco, right? How many? Many people die from tobacco. It's like 400,000. 480,000 deaths per year in the United States, and it's legal. What's worse is that we're legalizing the combination of nicotine, which is the addictive part of it, which is basically what this is about. This scheduling of drugs is based on, okay, how addictive is this? How likely is this to be abused? And also how dangerous is it, for your health? Basically, not having any sort of health benefits really whatsoever. That's how the scheduling really functions. We got tobacco mixed in with nicotine, which has 0 health benefits and kills. How many was that? That was 480,000 deaths in the US alone. That's it. And then marijuana is reportedly possibly 2, by health complications that they already had, pre-health complications that were possibly worsened by marijuana, right? And it's in the worst scheduling possible. This is the war on drugs. It's not the war on drugs, though. It's the war on Black people, and it's the war on Hispanics. It's the war on brown people. It's the war on poor people. The reason why marijuana, you can do your own research about this, please do. The reason why marijuana is a Schedule 1 drug is because of racism. That is literally it. That's the history of why it's in Schedule 1. That's it. And I'll tell you something. If the Democrats were serious about representing the people that they actually represent, this would not be a reality. We have Kamala Harris, who made her career as a prosecutor, ruining people's lives by sending them to jail over marijuana convictions. She's our freaking vice president. We have been betrayed. I'm getting so worked up. We have been betrayed by the Democratic Party. That's point number 1. I got 7. Here's point number 1, okay? Here's point number 2, police training. Police officers in California, they have to complete an 888-hour basic police training, and then cosmetologists, someone who works in beauty, they have to complete a 1,600-hour training requirement, right? That's what they got. We are training police officers half the time. This isn't just California either, by the way. This is California, the most liberal state, right? Consider all the other ones, right? They're not going to be doing much better. I'm going to tell you right now, there's a number of other states that I've looked at, same exact sort of reality, half the time of a cosmetologist, someone who works in beauty, double the time for them than a police officer, police officers who are and will are going to again act out as judge, jury, and executioner. Okay, this is a reality in our country. And we're not hearing anything from the Democrats. I'm not. You may, from like one or two of them. But what about the Democratic Party? What are they doing to correct this? Because they're not doing anything. What okay, so here's the basic question. Okay, fine. Let's increase the training time for police officers, right? What do we do? What do we do with them? Okay, here, I'll give you a few ideas. Re-emphasize, if you're not already, do it again. De-escalation tactics for people who have mental health issues, right? Or people who are under drugs, under substances, right? Re-emphasize de-escalation. So instead of getting people shot, we save lives by just de-escalating the situation. Get them better for that one. Get them better on that one. Right? We want to also shoot to incapacitate, not to kill. You can train the heck out of them to make sure that when they shoot, they aim for legs. If they're running away, you crouch and shoot your gun instead of standing and shooting your gun. So instead of hitting them in the back, you hit them in the legs. They're incapacitated. They're out for the count and they're not dead. That's the point. Half the time of a cosmetologist. That's point number 2. Here's point number 3. Education. Here are some extremely significant things about education that the Democratic Party is silent on. Okay, we got mental health. People, the 10th leading cause. Seriously, people, man, the 10th leading cause in the world. Here, hold on a second. Suicide. Oh my God, suicide death rate in world. 10th, I think. It's the 10th leading. Yeah, there it is. Was the 10th leading cause of death overall in the United States. It's the 10th leading cause in the United States, and we're not teaching people about mental health. We have to wait for them to first break down and almost kill themselves before they start getting help. Are you kidding me? We're there for 18 years, and we're not teaching people about some basic stuff that you can learn in therapy, right? Like dialectical behavioral therapy, right? DBT, right? That's a really good one, right? That's a really common one, right? Oh my God, why are we not doing that? The 10th leading cause in the US. And it's being ignored by our politicians, okay? They have betrayed us. This is point number 3, halfway through point number 3. Here's the other parts of this. Financial literacy. Let me tell you, okay? Financial literacy is literally the most significant reality flatly in people's lives because if you are financially ignorant, can you be happy? No, you can't. Because you don't know how to get food, you don't know how to get water, you don't know how to get a house. You're financially illiterate. You have got to have some level of financial literacy in order to even exist. That's how significant this reality is, and we're not teaching people about it. We're not even teaching the basics, not even about taxes, let alone tax loopholes, which, by the way, of the tax code, get this one. I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to know if the government's corrupt, this is it right here. We got 11,000 pages of tax code. The first 3 pages are who pays what. The rest of the 11,000 pages are how to get out of paying taxes. That's it. Our government's corrupt. And it makes sense. I'll make another video if I haven't already. I don't even know if I have totally mentioned this or not. It has to do with super PACs and how people basically get into office in the first places. It's corrupted. It's totally corrupt because we got super PACs. It's the last point. Okay, it's gonna be the last point. I'm gonna be explaining it there. Just hold on. We're gonna get there. But let me tell you right now, financial literacy, it is important. We're not even talking about sex ed too. We've taken that out of the curriculum. Why is that so significant? Because we want to reduce teen abortion rates. That's why. Literally no one wants teen abortions. No one does. Why aren't we teaching about it? Sex ed, in order to reduce teen abortion rates. Why aren't we doing that? I know that there's some statistic I can show you too about like the percentage of teens. It's something like you're what percent of teens get pregnant? Or actually, you can just say have sex. Teens have sex. 42%. From 15 to 19, 42% have sex, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. We have sex, okay? Not surprised. Well, I can't say that anymore. I'm 20, but but I mean but that's the point though. They're doing it. We know they're doing it. We don't want teens to get abortions. Why aren't we teaching them? We know they're going to do it. Why aren't we teaching them how to do it safely? Why? Work with the community. It's not impossible. Work with the communities. Make sure that they're in on the project. This is what teacher-parent conferences even are. They get involved, so then things are okay. Things are like, oh yes, we're communicating about like what's acceptable here. We want something there to make sure that teenagers are not getting abortions as much as possible, because no one wants that. Literally, no one wants that. Whether you are right, whether you are left, whether you are blue, whether you are red. No one wants teen abortion rates, behind stuff, no one wants that. That's point number 3. Here's point number 4, man. It gets worse. So let's see here. Let's this one, in fact. So the bottom 50% of America, okay, we got about 350 million people, I think, in the US right now, right? So half that, that's 175 million people. 175 million people account for 1.6% of the net worth. Okay, how much are they paying in taxes? Oh, it's 3%. Do you know what that means? It means that they're paying twice what they own. This is 50. And by the way, and I made this point before, I'll make it again. This is not just the Joe to your right and maybe you yourself. No, my good sir. This is, let me tell you, this is everyone. This is literally every single person when they are a young adult, saving up as much as they can in order to invest in themselves and their future. Here's why this is so disgustingly wrong. By making them the average of like, here's half of America, y'all are paying twice what you own. By the way, everyone, there's about 16% of people. I remember looking this up. There's about 16% of people are in their 20s. They're a young adult, right? They're in their 20s. 16% of us, okay? So we got a small chunk of this 50%, and then it's again, it's spread over like people who are working age adults and everyone who's lived their entire lives working as much as they can, okay? So we've got this 50% group right here, right? Here's the problem with it, is that every single person who's a young adult is trying to invest in themselves and in their future. Well, here's the thing. If you snip that in the bud, putting them this 50-pound weight on their back, like, oh, hey, go crawl 100 meters, right? Or saying, something crazy, right? Well, that's what the tax burden is. That's called the tax burden. It's reducing taxation to theft. Yes, taxes are theft, because when you give people a meaningless burden under the tax system, that is theft. And that's exactly what's going on. Because here's the thing. It's not just the immediacy of it. It's the entire future of their entire lives. Because interest, right? Compounded interest on what you invest in yourself. What you invest is compounded over time. That's how investments grow over time. Whether that's your future, your education, your stocks, your real estate, your bonds, whatever the heck you're investing in, right? Those things compound over time. Well, you snip that in the bud. It's not what you're losing so immediately. That's twice what you own, that entire group, right? It's not what you're meaning, so it's not what you're losing so immediately. It's for the rest of time as well. It's for the rest of your entire life. It's gone. It's gone. Everything that you could have had, gone, because you're under this tax system that reduces taxation to theft, okay? By the way, to give you a frame of reference, how much does the top 1%, just 1% of America own? They own 40 times that amount. About 40 times. They own 37.3% of all income. Oh, sorry, this was income tax. Sorry, yeah. Well, here's the thing. How much do they actually own? It's about 40%. So they own 40% of what they are, man. 40 times the top 1%. And by the way, we can talk about the 0.01% of people. That's thousands of times. That's thousands, man. But they account for 40% of the wealth. The 1% account for 40%. How much are they paying? They're paying about that. It's about a 1-to-1. Notice what's wrong here. The wealthiest in this country. By the way, we haven't even started talking about like the cost of living in order to have food, water, and shelter, right? That base level cost. That's another thing that makes the situation even worse. But let's just go ahead and stay on track here, right? What is wrong with this picture? The wealthiest paying a 1-to-1. Well, literally the poorest, the least able to bear a tax burden, are getting shoved a double tax burden, twice what they own, then take away from that as well. Moreover, the base cost of existing, it's worse. It's worse. Oh, and by the way, we tax people when they're like under 18, but they can't vote yet, so that's taxation without representation. The Democratic Party has betrayed us. I hope you're getting this sort of, you're seeing the picture now. It's like, oh, you know, like you're putting on, like you're nearsighted or something like that. You put on glasses for the first time. You're like, oh shit. So this is what's going on. Yeah, it's messed. It's messed up horribly. Also, by the way, we can like replace plastic with like hemp. Here's what hemp can do. So hemp plastic is completely biodegradable. Yes, plastic can be made from hemp. Hemp plastic is non-toxic. Hemp plastic could help save endangered wildlife. Everything made from plastic can be made from hemp. Boom, right here, okay? Major significant stuff right here. Electronics, containers, toys, cosmetics, bottles, bags, car parts, boats, and furniture can be made from hemp. I'm not even saying 100% of all plastic. I'm just saying the majority of plastics could be made from hemp. But no, guess what? Oh, it's Schedule 1. You can't do anything. Sorry. Oh, well, but wait a second, Mr. Officer. Why is it Schedule 1? Racism. Yeah. No, seriously, if you look into the history of why marijuana is Schedule 1, I don't even have enough, time in this video to go over it, but I'll just tell you right now, if you do a little bit of research, the reason why marijuana, it's because of what the end of Prohibition had a so quick history lesson here, okay? So at the end of Prohibition, the agency that was overseeing Prohibition was, really in danger of having a significant loss of funding for their department. So the head of the department was like, well, I have to do something about this. So he looked at what the blacks and Hispanics were doing. Literally, oh my gosh. So just really quickly, by the way, I think Thomas Jefferson was quoted as having been saying oh, on my porch, I love to smoke, a rope of marijuana or something like our founding fathers smoked marijuana. Everyone up until Prohibition was totally fine with marijuana, but this douche, this ridiculous piece of scummy trash, this human garbage can was like, oh, look at what the blacks and Hispanics are doing. They're smoking this thing called marijuana. I wonder if I could demonize it. And then he did exactly that. He launched this huge racist campaign against blacks and Hispanics and made it illegal. He followed up with a bunch of lies. He just lied about saying it made you go insane, made you want to rape people and shit. It was disgusting. Anyways, so then marijuana became Schedule 1. No one liked it because it was like, oh, these Mexicans and blacks are doing, they're going insane, raping white women. Well, we got to lock them up now. We got to lock them up in jail. By the way, let's look up really quickly. So let's hear. Oh my gosh, I don't even know how to phrase it. So we are the U.S. top percent of, let's see here, top imprisoned per capita. United States had the highest prisoner rate with 655 prisoners per 100,000 in the national population. El Salvador, okay, I'm just saying Thailand as well, rounding out the top 5 countries. So we're talking about really bad place, a lot of poverty, because here's the thing. Why do people go to prison? Well, it's often because they're really poor. We're seeing an extreme linkage between those two. High poverty rates, high crime rates. That's usually how that works, because when people are desperate and financially illiterate, they turn to crime. The United States has the highest prison rate. Why is that, I wonder? Maybe it has something to do with private prisons, creating lobbyists, so that now we want people to be locked up as much as possible. In any case, back to hemp, and plastics are stronger than petroleum-based plastics. Yeah, they're more scratch-resistant and stuff. It's stronger in general, as a renewable resource. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. By the way, what are we even on here? We're on point number 5. This isn't the environment. There's so much to talk about the environment, but I just want to talk about hemp plastics real quick because I think that's incredibly significant. Also, now we're going to be talking about military spending. We've been doing this for decades, okay? I'll say this in a zany way because I don't even know how else to pronounce this. That's how ridiculous this situation is. It's so horribly ridiculous. Anyway, so here's the thing is, right now, the U.S., is paying in its military. By the way, this is your money. This is your money. This is my money. This is everyone's money. We are paying out more, and we've been doing this for decades. We are paying out more than the next 10 countries combined: China, India, Russia, Saudi Arabia, France, Germany, United Kingdom, Japan, South Korea, and Brazil, most of which are our allies. They are our friends. We would not go to war against them. We would work with them. Guess what? We are paying out more by a significant margin, more than the next 10 countries combined. By the way, what does China mostly put its military towards? Ships. What do we do ourselves? Right? What do we spend our odds? Oh, it's on aircrafts. Guess what would win in a battle between a ship and an aircraft? The aircraft would win. Yeah, exactly. Right? We're like way overblown, like ridiculously unsubstantial. We're detached from reality. Did you know this? Does your friend know this? Does your neighbor down the street know this? No, I guess not. You wonder why. When we're not even teaching financial literacy, it's mind-blowing. Here's the thing though. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Well, here's an idea. We have these things called super PACs. They can raise unlimited amounts of funding in order to get people elected. Now, we've also got normal PACs, which are limited in their amounts of being able to raise to get someone elected. Why is that the case? Why are normal PACs limited? Well, we don't want our elections to be bought. If I could, I'm not as good of an editor as I wish I could be, but here would be super PACs. It's just here. Super PACs. Yeah, our elections are bought and sold to the highest bidder. And it shows. And it shows so blatantly because of everything that I've just listed to you. These things prove that our government is not for and of and by the people. Okay, it's really not. And I want to show you guys something else too. It's a really terrible one, but here it is. Congress versus I don't even know how to pronounce hemorrhoids. Congress has a lower approval rating. Yeah, it's a known one. So Congress has a lower approval rating than hemorrhoids. Here's something else that I wanted to. Oh, geez. Woo. If I can show you this one too. This is a really significant sort of image to have in mind, and I'll just show you this really quickly because this is how disgustingly wrong things really are. So here, so Congress has a lower approval rating than hemorrhoids, and there's more problems with Congress. So this one right here. I'm gonna be reading this off. Okay, here's what this says. Millionaires in Congress account for 51% of Congress. Millionaires in America, 5%. White men in Congress, 77%. White men in America, 31%. Women in Congress, 20%. Women in America, 51%. Over 55 in Congress, 67%. Over 55 in America, 28%. So our government is not inherently, as it is set up right now, is not a thing which represents the people, because the people are a hell of a lot more diverse than what is shown in Congress. There's something wrong. There's something wrong that's going on here. And in fact, there's about like several things wrong that were already listed throughout the entirety of this video, right? This is ridiculous. This is something that we need to be screaming about. We need to be protesting this about. We need to be writing to people about. We need to be sharing this video with people to spread the word. Spread the good news, right? Have you heard the good word? Yeah, here's good news. We're getting screwed over by Congress, which has a lower approval rating than hemorrhoids. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, it's wrong. It's really wrong. And it's terrifying in a lot of ways. But you know what though? There's just one thing. There's just one thing that gives the people power. And it is exactly the thing which has always given the people the ability to overthrow tyrants, powerful tyrants of that. And it's connections to one another, communications with one another. When you've got people grouped together under an understanding that things are wrong and need to be changed, change happens. So let me tell you something. If you have been inspired by what you have seen, what you have heard, what you have experienced, what you have felt, share it with someone you know. Share this video so that they as well can feel this inside themselves and be inspired to share the word all the more. So that one day, hopefully soon, as much as possible, because that's what it's about, these things can be changed. Reality can be made better because the people said something instead of just taking it up the behind. Also, something that I always want to do, if you ever get the chance, and I'm telling you right now, something is always better than nothing. That's a fact. If you want to, please definitely do check out these 4 charities: Habitat for Humanity, Charity Water, Awesome Pets Alive, and World Central Kitchen. They are 4 really good charities. They will do good by your money. Do your own research into them. They're really good. I cried at Charity Water's video. Not even joking about that. I literally bawled. It just really got me. And that's just something, a part of this channel that I want, to do, is spread the word as much as possible about what's going on in the world, how am I handling it, how I overcame my depression, significant things concerning the stock market. In fact, that we're in a massive bubble that is going to pop and will pop soon, and how you can make money from it through these things called inverse ETFs, which, by the way, definitely do check out the rest of my channel, because I go over literally everything you could even want about, like, what's going on with that picture. But yeah, so that's how the Democratic Party has betrayed us, part 2. And with that, I will say adieu. Thank you. Peace.